Hi everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of Two Hands and a Radio. And if you haven't figured it out by now, I'm Two Hands and this is the radio. Today we're going to step up just a little bit and we're going to look at a radio, the TIVDIO V-116. I'm going to guess that's how you say it, TIVDIO. No idea how to pronounce it, so I'm going to call it TIVDIO. And normally we do radios under $20. This one is $24, and I got it for $24 on eBay. I think Amazon even has it higher priced than that. $24 took about 6 weeks or so to get here from China, and I've just been partial to the whole TIVDIO line. The V111, V115, V117, and now we've got the V116, and I like it because it's orange, and it's TIVDIO, and I wanted to see what this can do. It's got a neat looking display on it, but it has an ebook and calendar. Okay, what can this do? It's got an ebook calendar and MP3 player. Okay, kind of cool, and I know normally we just kind of look at the shortwave end of it and let that be it, and I thought with this we're going to dive in a little deeper with the other functions of it, and the packaging is really cool, which I know we don't care about much, but it's still neat packaging, kind of a box within a box kind of thing. Now, I will say that I had to open this one up before, and you've heard me say it a few times, that this has a lithium-ion battery in it, and so with that, I had to, spin him around here, I had to charge the battery up before I came out here in the middle of nowhere and showed you a radio that wouldn't even turn on. It comes with an operating manual. It's an operating book. Only the first 26 pages are in English, and then every 26 pages after that changes language. But it's a big, thick book, and it comes with the charging cable. Plug this into your computer and charge the battery up. So we've got that, and here it is. I tried to put it back the way it came, and just so we could get some kind of a semblance of unboxing. And there that is. Let me just move everything out of the way for us, and hopefully the wind behaves. And here it is. You can see why I like orange. The only thing that I noticed is the picture on the box, on the listing and everything, is a lot brighter orange than it really is. It's kind of a dull orange, kind of a flat finish, really, I guess. No big deal. It's just me. I like bright orange. Front of it, very minimal. We've got maybe a 1-inch speaker, 1 1/4 inch, something like that. I did poke through the manual just a bit, just so I can, these buttons are so multifunctional. If you don't have some idea how to drive around, this is really going to look like almost could turn into a blooper reel instead of any kind of a intellectual review at all. Not that I'm very intellectual, but you know what I mean. It would not be informational, it would just be more, you just laugh at me. This side's nothing. The bottom is your slot for your micro SD card. I did put a couple of files on here, and we can talk about it now. That you heard me mention earlier, an ebook reader and an MP3 player. Ebook reader is kind of a misnomer because I think of Kindle, that type of thing. It reads a text file. So if you have a .txt file, text file, you could, in theory, put it on here and read it on this little screen, which is about a 1x2 screen. You could read it. I don't know why anybody would. but you could. And you know, it would have been better if it was a PDF reader, maybe. That could have had more function, I suppose. But a text file, okay. Just kind of an added bonus, I suppose. And wheeling around to this side, we've got an auxiliary port where we can connect like an MP3 player. Like if we had another MP3 player or whatever, we could hook into this. Earphone jack, tuning knob, really smooth. This is the one thing I did notice last night. It's just so soft and smooth. That was nice. The top of it, we have the charging ports, a mini USB, and we can charge with that. And then we have a full-size USB port, and I'm trying to remember exactly what that's for. You could connect this to your computer and play your MP3s out of this onto your computer if you wanted to. It's a lot of weird stuff if you ask me. Anyway, just another feature, you know. And I have the handy tape measure here. The antenna comes in at 20.5 inches. Good size antenna. It swivels. Very nice. On the back side, there's no kickstand. There's nothing. This cover is just for a cell phone battery. And I will say this, if there's anything out of this review that sticks, when you first get it, you have to open this up, and it's not any place that I know. You have to open it up, and the battery is wrapped in plastic. You have to unwrap that and plug the battery in. I think it's a shipping thing that our Postal Service and UPS and FedEx and all that, they don't like lithium-ion batteries just plugged in someplace. So it's wrapped in plastic. I read one comment that said, I love the radio, however, when I plug it in to charge it, the radio will turn on. But as soon as I unplug the charger, the power button doesn't work. Well, I was having the same problem, which is the reason I saw that comment. And there wasn't an answer for it. And the only answer was, well, send it back to us and we'll refund your money. And I thought, well, I don't want to send this back to China. But I had the exact same problem. I'd plug it in and it showed on the screen that it was charging. Okay. But then I'd let it charge for a couple of hours and pull it and hit the power button and nothing happened. And then I just got curious and popped that cover off, and the battery was wrapped in plastic. Unwrapped the battery, put the battery back in, put the cover on, and it just powered right up. It really didn't need much charging at all. But I topped it off just for today. So that's just my little tip and hint, is to make sure you undo that battery, or else you won't get very far. Tells us the TIVDIO V-116, shows us the band ranges. FM is just a normal 87 to 108 megahertz. Medium wave, which is AM broadcast, 522 to 1710 kilohertz, sorry. And our shortwave is 3.2 to 21.85 megahertz. And I apologize out of the gate if you're hearing some wind now, because it just started to pick up. Hopefully it's not too bad. And I think we've covered all the sides of it. We have the handy dandy wrist strap, which is attached, and which I can't stand, but that's okay. And you know, everyone that's watched any videos before, you know how I feel about these. And I suppose there's a function to it in life. I don't know. Anyway, so with that, the front of it, and this is where it gets multi-layered. Each button has more than one function. We've got our medium wave FM plus or minus 10, which means it'll jump it'll jump 10 or minus 10. That's kind of like your tuning. There is no real, well, there's a tuning knob on the side. Maybe for, I think that's volume, plus or minus 10 on the volume. Wow, I should have read even more than what I read. The little key thing here is a lock button that you can lock this out so you don't accidentally press buttons. Radio MP3, that's just going to toggle between radio or MP3 mode if you're going to play MP3s. Now here's your volume, plus or minus. Okay, well these plus 10s and minus 10s, I know MW, when I press that, it goes to AM broadcast, FM goes to FM broadcast. There's something down below that that does the minus 10 or plus 10. I don't know. Then we've got our shortwave bands, and this toggles through the shortwave, plus or minus goes to each different band, which we can see that later. I hope everybody can see that screen. It may be hard to see in the sunlight, even though there's not a lot of sun, it may be hard to see. Menu button, this is the one that I was confused about, that it's a combination of the menu button plus these two shortwave buttons, which also show like fast forward and rewind, that's going to control the MP3, scrolls through your, it's got a ton of little settings inside of it. There again, unless you sit down and really play with this and learn how to use it, it's not one you're going to pull out of the box and just say, oh yeah, I understand this. And you know, and a lot of them are. A lot of them need no real explanation, but this has so many little, it has so many buttons, and yet it doesn't have a lot of buttons. And it's like, this is interesting. So, with that, let's fire this up and just see what happens. I don't know if you can see the screen or not. Oh, okay. So there's the MP3 player. Well, we'll start there. I put the MP3 on the file. And here's volume. I know we're probably not supposed to play much music. Okay, so there's the MP3 player. Kind of interesting. It's got a good sound to it for such a small speaker. I was sitting there flipping the tuning knob trying to get the volume to go. I'm used to a volume knob, not just buttons on the side here. Well, let's dive into our... Okay, we're going to play that again. Okay, let's go down. Okay, now we're at the main menu, which is interesting. So you use your menu button, and then you use your shortwave plus to go down a menu. And there again, I don't know if you can see any of this or not, which could even add to more confusion if you can't. And then you use the shortwave minus to go sideways. Well, let's try to pick the radio maybe. Waiting. And there it is. Now, finally. Okay, now we're on the medium wave. Let's turn it down just a touch. There's our local station. Don't know if you can hear that well or not. I keep reaching for a tuning knob. I don't know if that helps, if you can see where we're at. I don't want to have to do that through the whole video, though. Huh, okay. Now let's go to FM quickly. It's got a good FM sound to it. It's got a really good, okay, there's 108. And I don't know if you can hear any of that or not. It's got a great tone to it. Let's drop that down a little more. Let's go to shortwave. See if it goes to shortwave. Huh, okay. Let's go to shortwave. Okay. How do we get to shortwave? There is shortwave to this, isn't there? Okay, if you double tap it, then it goes to shortwave. Okay. And then just, okay, whatever. That was a little cranky, wasn't it? There's Radio Havana, Cuba. It does do things in half steps. Has a dial down here at the bottom as you go across. It's kind of showing you not really shows you where it's at, but it shows you're going up or down the dial. Up or down the band, I guess I should say. Huh, okay. Let's go on down. Almost sounds like it's got some FM overload trying to come in. Maybe not. Okay, 11760. And then 940. I don't know how far down it now. Just 940 is as far as it can go. Alrighty. Okay. Oh, a great voice. Okay, up to 990. So it doesn't, you're not going to get the WWV in there. The time stamp, the bands are really narrow on this. And not life-threatening or anything. Going down, I doubt you can get to... So it starts, okay, so it starts at 5.9. Every time you hit for the next band, okay, it starts in the same place. So it really, this dial at the bottom, this meter at the bottom helps you because you know where you're at in that band then. Instead of being at the top of one band and then you change it and you're at the top of that band and you've got to come back down through it and then change it and you got to go back up. It's the same way, but it's a visual showing you where you're at in that band. Right now we're kind of in the middle of the band. And you could get 5 megahertz. In the evening, you might be able to get WWV 5 megahertz, and that's the only one you're going to get. Okay. So I get that. Sort of. Sort of. Okay. Okay, well, let's get out of that. And let's look at... Boy, I have no idea what some of this is. It's Japanese FM. Oh, the Japanese FM will be the frequencies are different. And let's go over. We heard the MP3 player right out of the box. It was set to play the MP3. But let's go into the text browser. Sample text is what I created. Okay, well there it is. Now I don't know if you can see this at all or not. Probably not. But the text was ideal for travel, 4.7 by 2.5 by 0.8 inches. That's this thing. I just copied some stuff from Amazon and plugged it in. Pocket, small radio. Easily fits in the shirt pocket. The perfect combination of chips, lines, design maximizes the reception ability. DSP radio chip is an outstanding idea. Built-in green LCD, which nobody can see. So that's the text thing. Now the hard part is to figure out how to get out of that browser, because it keeps going back into it. And if I go there, exit, there, exit, and then it goes back in. Okay, who cares? Wow. So I'm going to say that if you read the directions, enter main. Okay, there we go. All I have to do is read enter main, gets us back to the main menu. But you've got a radio function, which we just listened to. We've got a music function where it plays the MP3 player. We've got the text browser, which is a better term than ebook reader. It just browses a text file. Then we have settings, system settings, we can go in and change. The calendar function is just that. It is just like a wall calendar, only it's here. You don't have any way to say, oh, I want to enter an event, or I need a reminder, or I need this or that. No, it's just what day it is, and that's it. And we're back to that. The settings function, we can roll down, you can change the system time. The backlight, you could turn it on or off. Language tool, we get to pick the language. It's set on English, and I'm not going to mess with that. Tools, we have a sleep timer, touch tone off, alarm, exit. Okay. Tools. Okay. Oops. So this does have a sleep timer, which would be kind of neat. And boy, once you figure out how to move around with it, it gets a little easier. You're using these three buttons to move around in the menus. And this goes from side to side. This goes up and down. This is like an enter button. And it's kind of confusing. So maybe that gives you a little bit of an idea about this. We can go back into the radio function. Let's turn it down. But I just wondered, the radio MP3 button. Oh, and radio MP3 just automatically starts your MP3. That's probably how it got started in the first place. But there's that. I picked a song from La La Land for us to listen to. Nice piano music. So that will toggle you back and forth. Kind of neat. You still haven't figured out medium wave. And if you hold it, I don't know what the plus 10, minus 10 ordeal is. I just don't know. Anyway, beyond me. And of course, it always says goodbye to you when you turn it off. Cute little radio. Would I spend $24 for another one? No, I wouldn't spend any more than $24, honestly. It's okay. It's a nice radio. Once you get over that user friendliness and figure out how the buttons work, and hopefully this video has helped somebody, once you get over that, it's not terrible. The sound quality was nice. I think it's but I'm old and I like knobs and buttons and things, and this has very few of them. You know, outside of that, I mean, I'll give it from a 1 to 10, I would give this a 6 out of 10, I guess. It's not my favorite TIVDIO. My favorite would be the V-116. That just seemed to have a lot of features. It all worked as it should. It was easy to use. Yeah, it was okay. And that's probably my favorite. need to get the V111 back out and try it again. Maybe even put it up against the V115 and do kind of a comparison. But, you know, 6 out of 10 is not all bad either. There's a lot of radios that are worse than this. I like the look of it. I like the feel of it. Just not a bad radio at all. Hi, everybody. I wanted to do a part 2 of the TIVDIO V-116. As you can see, we've changed locations. We're inside now. And in part 1, which you just watched, I don't think people could see the screen very well. And that screen's kind of an integral part of this whole thing. So I just wanted to turn it on so you could see the screen. It's a ugly green and you know, bright green or whatever. And there's what the radio section looks like. And you can see the tuning. You can see that pointer down at the bottom, how it's going to the left as we go down on the band. It goes to the right as you go up. Kind of a handy thing to have. Like I said, I don't think anybody could see that in the first section of the video. And another thing I wanted to show also was the menu system. And see if we can get down to, this is what it looks like when you first get into the menus. This right on the left hand side is the radio. Then we go to music, which would be the MP3 player, the text browser, which was the text file that we talked about. Here's system settings that you can get into and set the system time. The backlight, you can adjust how long, how many seconds it's going to stay on. Language, it has 2 or 3 different languages you can program it for. Maybe more than that. English, Chinese, Portugal I think was one maybe. They were all over the place. And I wanted to show you also the text browser, that when you look at, I created a file just called sample text, and when you bring that up, I wanted to show you what it actually looked like. And you use your shortwave plus button to move down. It just scrolls down at the bottom of it there. And it's, you know, it's okay. I mean, in an emergency, it would be all right. And see if the thing that I still have trouble with is trying to get around in it. As you can see, I'm juggling around, and okay, let's try that. Okay, there's the main thing then. The menu system is just wonky, and I think that's a technical term, wonky. And of course, I haven't poured through the manual probably like I should, and to get a really good sense of how it works. And the very last piece of it was the calendar over there, which is just a day and date kind of thing. It's not really much. There's the radio, we talked about that. The MP3 function, and it should there's that. So we'll turn it down before anybody gets nervous about copyright. It has a function in here on MP3 playback. One of these, somewhere you can go in and actually have an equalizer and mess with these settings for the sound of it. I haven't figured out how to use that either. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to show you just a quick second part of the screen and like that, because I don't think you could see it outside. And with that, I think we'll wrap up the review of the TIVDIO V-116, and I hope to see everybody on the next review. And thanks for watching.